Hey everybody, it's Garrett here with NordStick. I'm gonna show you exactly how to get started with your NordBench and a few crucial tips to ensure that you're gonna have success. Just to make it worth your while, I'm gonna do this in under 10 minutes. So just getting started, here it is stored vertically. We're gonna now lay it down. It's super important when you're using it and exercising. You pull this to its full length, slide the pin in, and then you're ready to go. So this is using the NordBench in flat mode. You wanna make sure that these teeth fit perfectly on each side of the silver. This is gonna provide some lateral stability. Looking at the back of the NordBench, if you wanna make the NordBench more stable, this bolt, tighten it super tight. It's gonna improve a rotation. It's gonna make it very, very stable. If you want the foot plate not to move at all, tighten this bolt. When you're up in 45 degrees, it should not rotate at all. Now, I just wanna go over how to use it. So we have flat like I showed you. Here is 8 degrees. Here is 15 degrees, 25 degrees. With each level getting higher, it makes the Nordic curl easier. So you can find the level that's challenging for you and gradually progress all the way down to flat. Now, here's a 45-degree back extension. This will target your glutes, hamstrings, and lower back. As you lower down the angle, you're gonna shift to a more lower back focused movement. So when I'm working with individuals in a physical therapy setting, I'll adjust the angle to the needs of the person in front of me. The 45-degree back extension is industry standard, so a great place to start. Now, I wanna walk you through all the exercises you can do, or at least the main ones with the NordBench. And I'm gonna have Kristen model for this as I walk you through the easiest to the hardest version of all the core 6 movements with the NordBench. So we'll start off with the Nordic curl. She's gonna start at 35 degrees. So when starting with the Nordic curl, it's important to start at a little bit of an incline to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success. This is gonna make it easier for her because she's gonna train through less range of motion and gravity's gonna affect her a little bit less. She's gonna be able to have success on the eccentric and concentric part, so as she slowly lowers down and while she pulls on the way back up. And now I'm gonna have Kristen step out of this. As she gets better, you can easily adjust down to a lower angle, like 25 degrees. This is gonna make it more challenging. She's gonna train through more range of motion, and as she progresses, it's gonna be a great way to guide you down to a full Nordic curl. Now I'm gonna have Kristen step out, and we're gonna lower this all the way down to 8 degrees. 8 degrees is just before flat. A lot of times with Nordic curls, the challenge that we have is there's a way to make it easier, a way to make it harder, but there's no middle. So us having 15 and 8 degrees is that middle, where Kristen now can have success before a flat Nordic curl. 8 degrees is very challenging, as you can see, so don't sleep on this. And then all the way down to flat. Now this is just exercise fundamentals, but ways outside of using incline to make things easier or harder is you can add a pause, increase your tempo, increase your time under tension, which means slow your cadence on the way down, pause at the bottom, or slow your cadence on the way up. You can also add weight to a movement, or you can increase the range. I'm showing you all that here by, as she lowers down, she's increasing the range. She can slow down her tempo if this gets easy for her. And Kristen, you can hop off there. I'm sure that's really challenging, but there's multiple ways to scale outside of just the incline. So you can really push yourself through that movement. Next, I wanna show you a back extension. Kristen's gonna start, I'm gonna adjust this up. It's gonna be above her hip. She's gonna start with an isometric hold. So with this being just above Kristen's hip crease, she can start with a hold. Once you can accumulate about 2 minutes doing this, now you can lower that down. So Kristen, step off, lower it down a little bit lower so it's just below her hip crease. And now it's gonna make that movement more challenging. Once she can do 2 minutes here, she can put her hands on the handles and assist herself through a back extension. Awesome. Once that's easy, she can put her hands on her chest and do a full body weight back extension. And level 5, once that is easy, she can add a band for resistance. So Kristen, try that out. Good. We're gonna now lower down and we're gonna show you hip thrusts. So Kristen's gonna start with a hip thrust with 2 legs. That's gonna be the easiest. She's gonna squeeze, lift all the way to the top. You want your shoulder, hip, and knee in line in the top. To make it harder, she can switch to single leg. That's gonna make it a little bit harder. And then Kristen can add the band in a double leg fashion to make it more challenging. So now she can do banded hip thrusts. I love this because it's easiest at the bottom when you're the weakest, and the band provides the most resistance at the top when you're the strongest. She can then try single leg to make it even harder. Perfect. And now this easily slips out and she's good to go. Now we're gonna talk about split squats. So Kristen's gonna put her foot on the front and do a split squat. If Kristen brings her front foot further away from the machine, she's gonna feel it more in her front leg glute. If Kristen brings her foot closer back to the machine, she's gonna feel it in her quad. If you want a pretty good balance, Kristen's gonna sit on the machine, just lightly touching, reach her leg out, good. And that's gonna be where her foot is, then she's gonna put her other foot up there. To make this harder, she can add weight to her hands, or she can add a hold. So Kristen, pause. That's gonna intensify this exercise, and then weight will do that even further. Next, we're gonna show sit-ups. So I'm gonna lower this down to flat. Kristen, just do a flat sit-up. Good. This is the easiest version of the movement. Good. Now, to make it harder, Kristen, hop off the machine. We're gonna move this to 15 degrees. Kristen, hop on. Good. Reach back. Good. This is gonna make the exercise even more challenging. Good. And then as Kristen gets better, we're gonna increase the range of motion by putting her at 25 degrees. This is about the max angle you should be doing sit-ups at, but it's gonna make it significantly more challenging for her. She's gonna have to reach all the way to the ground and touch. If this is too challenging, Kristen just has to go about halfway down, pull herself back up, and she's gonna feel plenty in her core. Next, we're gonna talk about slant board squats. So we're gonna flip this flat. So Kristen's gonna first start with her foot halfway on the slant board. Good. By having her foot slide down a little bit more, by having her foot partially on the slant board, it's gonna decrease the steepness of the angle and make it easier for her. As she gets better, she's then gonna increase the angle, and it'll increase the challenge, feeling it more in her quads. If she wants to go to a target, she can use the rollers to decrease the range of motion as she's getting better. And then as she gets stronger, she can pull this pin, release that roller, and now go through full range of motion. To make this even harder, she can add some weight in her hand or use our band system connected here to add challenge to the exercise. So that's the core ways you can utilize a machine, and we did that in under 10 minutes. If you have any questions, please reach out to Garrett@thenordstick.com, and I'd be happy to hop on a call with you and walk you through these progressions to find the appropriate level for you.